Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it's time for a shoulder day, and I did stuff a little different. I haven't done a shoulder day in a few weeks. Wanted to work one back in, and I'm really assessing some of my movement a little more because really my other days are all about just my straight up size and strength. I wanted to just kind of see where my range of motion is on an overhead press. I got the most range of motion using this form. I tried a few different ones. This is the only one I put in the footage just to see where I could go. I could get the most range of motion there. I got at least 3 inches higher there than any other grip or anything I did. So probably the way I need to go. And I know people will be like, that's not even close to a full lockout. That's 100% of my range of motion with the empty bar. I'm straining to lock that. So what I decided to do was just do a bunch of pump work, see how different things felt with just really light weights, everything 15 plus reps, 15 to 20. So my upright rows were light. And what I've been looking at lately a lot, I've been looking at old lifting footage because yes, I want to continue to get leaner, more jacked, bring up my arms, bring up all this stuff, tighten the waistline up, get my big lifts back up, right? I want a 375 bench this year. I want a 550 squat this year, all that stuff. I want that restored range of motion in my shoulders. If I'm going to be fair, guys, I'm getting older. That is not a good trend, and it's not just age. I know guys who can do full lockouts, and I coached a guy who was in his late 50s, a couple years back, who was an Olympic lifter, and he could still do a full lockout all the way at the top just fine on strict presses, on his clean and jerks, everything. I've been looking, going all the way back 10 years into some of my older footages, looking at kind of where I saw that range of motion start decreasing. And it's like the two movements, the two things that seem to have been correlated most with it, because I looked back, dude, guys, I was doing a full lockout for reps on 205. Like they were just little push presses, but like 9 years ago, 10 years ago, like that 2015 type era, I went and checked. I have footage on this channel. Okay, here's the thing. I didn't do any direct side delt work, and I didn't bench ultra wide during any of those times. And I've noticed this may be a factor because I feel a little crunchiness. None of this hurts. Now the pullovers restored some of my range of motion. I did lots of chins and pull-ups just fine back then. That helped. I close grip benched. I think when I look at this, I think the way I want to go, again, I based all this on just kind of what I was doing here, just how this stuff felt. Like I said, I did 3 sets of these different movements. I did upright row, lateral, just did them all for 15 plus, did some front raises. Looking at what felt those areas feel weird in the shoulder joint. And they don't hurt, but there is a certain degree of crunchiness and limit. And when, again, I look at stuff, pullovers and front raises do really well for me. They'll pretty much work my delts. They'll work my delts just fine. They both hit side delts to a small extent. The pullovers hit rear delts really well. Front raises hit the front delts. Okay. I'm considering for a phase avoiding this stuff to see if I can get that range of motion back. And I think I need to go really light. I need to quit trying to push the overhead press hard. I might even need to come in and just do seated overhead presses. Even if I got to just put 95 pounds on the bar, check my ego, and just pump out all this shoulder work in that way. Okay, so I might need to do that and find the ways to get the longest range of motion and just hammer it. Push pullovers and then push the front raises because these actually don't put me into those positions. They both also carry over to my close grip benching and my overhead press. And it's the issue of trying to assess something there that I know I can be strong on close grip. Yeah, I got strong at wide grip once I finally started doing it after years of close grip. But I've close grip 365 before on camera with calibrated plates. So I know I'm capable of doing it again. I had better shoulder range of motion then still. I went and looked. Now, of course, the elbows are their own thing, but that's kind of always been there to some extent. Um, so yeah, if I'm going to look at this stuff, I need to assess it really. I don't need to go heavy on any of these shoulder days. I can just do reps and work quality because I'm going to go heavy on rows. I'm going to go heavy on benching. I'm going to go heavy on squats and deadlifts. All that stuff's going to be heavy as hell. Okay. Might even need to do chins instead of the normal pull-ups. See if I can get that area a little more mobile. I don't know. I'm going to have to assess that closely. But I think something I want to do while working towards these other goals, I really do need to address this. And normal physical therapy is useless. I'm going to be fair. I've had fans who they sent me their stuff, multiple ones who have master's degree in physical therapy. Literally nothing any of them have sent me or suggested has ever helped at all. So it's going to have to be lifting. I'm going to have to step back and say, are some of these movements for my shoulders as they've gotten older problematic? Are they causing some calcification or inflammation that's limiting range of motion? Okay. So I have to resolve that. But what things will help me? Well, working overhead press, maybe weighted chins, dead hangs, pullovers. Do these pullovers religiously. The front raises actually may even help me. Nothing out wide. I've got to just stop doing anything really wide for a bit and see how it works. It's not like I'm going to lose strength because as long as I'm doing all my pressing and incline benching and, chest work like this, it'll be fine. But it's something that as I look at, it probably needs to be corrected. I am not comfortable with that level of overhead range of motion I have. I feel like it's a glaring weakness in my performance. It's technically a weakness in my fitness. And I'm 48. I need to resolve it. It needs to be resolved. So let's get on top of it. The pullovers, I lost count of reps here, by the way. I don't even know how many I did, 40, 50, whatever. Right, I did 20s with this last time, but I was fatigued from the other stuff. But coming in, not having done chest work, I did this, and my God, did I cramp afterwards. My triceps, my back, everything just cramped up as I got up off here. But there's some more of this too, right? Pullovers need to be a mainstay for me, for the shoulder health. But I've got to stop doing the other stuff that inflames it. So that's going to be kind of the name of the game. So I think that's where we're going to go even with the shoulder day. I feel like I need to quit trying to raise my arms up to the side. I need to chill a little with a wide benching, and let's just see what happens. Let's see if I can get that range of motion restored. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.